Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So we will be covering Unit 7, Genetics and Evolution. We have already covered the Evolution chapter. Now we will be covering Chapter 4, Principles of Inheritance and Variation. We will be covering this chapter in 3 parts. So starting with the chapter, let's talk about the scientists, James Watson and Francis Crick. James Dewey Watson, uh, he was having the degree in zoology, and he received his PhD degree on a study of effect on heart X-rays on bacteriophage multiplication. So he was basically working on X-rays impact on the bacteriophage multiplications. And he met Crick and discovered their common interest in solving the DNA structure. Their first serious effort was unsatisfactory. Their second effort, based upon more experimental evidence and better appreciation of the nucleic acid literature, resulted early in March 1953 in the proposal of the complementary double helical configuration. So Francis Crick, he studied physics at University College London and got the BSc degree. He completed PhD in 1954 on a thesis entitled X-ray diffraction, polypeptides and proteins. So basically, both the scientists were working on X-ray impact James Watson was working on X-ray impact on the bacteriophage replication and multiplication, and Crick was working on X-ray diffraction, polypeptides and proteins. A critical influence in Crick's career was his friendship with James Watson, then a young man of 23, leading in 1953 to the proposal of the double helical structure for DNA and the replication scheme. Crick was made an FRS in 1959. The honors to Watson with Crick include John Collins Warren Prize, the Lasker Award, the Research Corporation Prize, and the Nobel Prize. So you can see they have given the proposal in 1953 of the double helical structure of DNA and the replication. Moving ahead, let's talk about Chapter 4, Principles of Inheritance and Variation. Have you ever wondered why an elephant always gives birth only to a baby elephant and not some other animal? Or why a mango seed forms only a mango plant and not any other plant? Given that they do, are the offsprings identical to their parents? Or do they show differences in some of their characteristics? Have you ever wondered why siblings sometimes look so similar to each other or sometimes even so different? These and several related questions are dealt with scientifically in a branch of biology known as genetics. So genetics is basically study of the genes. This subject deals with the inheritance as well as the variation of characters from the parents to the offspring. Inheritance is a process by which characters are passed on from the parent to the progeny. It is the basis of heredity. Variation is the degree by which the progeny differs from their parents. Humans knew from as early as 8000 to 2000 BC that one of the causes of variation was hidden in the sexual reproduction. They exploited the variations that were naturally present in the wild populations of plants and animals to selectively breed and select for organisms that possess desirable characters. For example, through artificial selection and domestication from ancestral wild cows, we have well-known Indian breeds, example Sahiwal cows in Punjab. We must, however, recognize that though our ancestors knew about the inheritance of characters and variations, they had very little idea about the scientific basis of these phenomena. So moving ahead, let's talk about Mendel's law of inheritance. It was during the mid-19th century. That headway was made in the understanding of the inheritance. Gregor Mendel conducted hybridization experiments on the garden bees for 7 years, 1856 to 1863. The year is very important, questions have been asked on it. And proposed the laws of inheritance in living organisms. During Mendel's investigations into inheritance patterns, it was for the first time that statistical analysis and mathematical logic were applied to the problems in biology. So it was Mendel was not from the biology background, so he while his investigations in the inheritance patterns, it was for the first time that the statistical analysis, the mathematical logic were applied to the problems in biology. His experiments had a large sampling size. So basically why he succeeded? Because he had a large sampling size which gave greater credibility to the data he collected. Also, the confirmation of his inferences from experiments on successive generations of these test marks proved that his results pointed to general rules of inheritance rather than being unsubstantiated ideas. Mendel investigated characters in the garden pea plant that were manifested as the two opposing traits, example tall or the dwarf plant, yellow or the green seeds. This allowed him to set up a basic framework of the rules governing inheritance, which was expanded on by later scientists to account for all the diverse natural observations and the complexity inherent in them. So basically मैंडल ने जो है 7 पेयर ऑफ कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग ट्रेट्स लिए थे पी प्लांट में. पी प्लांट का साइंटिफिक नेम होगा पायसम सेटाइवा, and it was studied by Mendel in between the years 1856 to 1863 in the mid 19th century. So he chosen the 7 pair of contrasting traits. What are the contrasting traits? One or the another pair is opposite to the another pair. Like in a one pair of the traits, one is like tall, so another will be dwarf. मतलब एक पेयर जो होगा उसके कॉन्ट्रास्ट में दूसरा पेयर होगा. एक बहुत टॉल है तो एक बहुत शॉर्ट होगा. So 7 pairs of contrasting traits were selected by the Mendel. So he selected the characters like stem height, flower position, pod color, pod shape, flower color, seed color, seed shape. These are the characters. Now characters have the traits. Seed shape trait can be round or wrinkled. So dominant trait will be round. Basically seeds are round. Round seeds are dominant one, and wrinkled are the recessive trait. In seed color, the yellow is the dominant and green is the recessive trait. In flower color, the violet flower is the dominant and the white flower is the recessive. In pod shape, the full pod shape is the dominant trait and the constricted one is the recessive. In pod color, the green one is the dominant trait and the recessive one is the yellow. In flower position, axial is the dominant position and terminal is the recessive position. In stem height, tall is the dominant trait and dwarf is the recessive trait. Moving ahead, Mendel conducted such artificial pollination or cross-pollination experiments using several true breeding pea lines. So he used the several true breeding pea lines. So a true breeding line is one that, having undergone continuous self-pollination, shows a stable trait inheritance in the expression for several generations. True breeding line क्या होता है? उसमें हम continuously self-pollination कराएंगे, then it will show the stable trait inheritance. It will show again and again the same trait is going to pass on to the progenies, and it will express for the several generations. Mendel selected 14 true breeding pea varieties. Now here's a very important question. You have to differentiate. He selected 7 pairs of contrasting traits and he selected 14 true breeding plant varieties. These are two different things. As pairs which were similar except for one character with contrasting traits. Some of the contrasting traits selected were smooth or wrinkled seeds, yellow or green seeds, inflated or constricted green or yellow pods, and tall or the dwarf plants. We have already talked about the dominant trait and the recessive traits of the characters given, selected by Mendel. Contrasting traits studied by Mendel in pea. So characters, stem height, it can be tall or the dwarf. Tall is the dominant one, dwarf is the recessive one. Flower color, violet or white, violet is the dominant. Flower position, axial and terminal, axial is the dominant. Pod shape, inflated or constricted, inflated is the dominant. Pod color, green or yellow, green is the dominant. Seed shape, round or wrinkled, round is the dominant. And seed color, yellow or green, yellow is the dominant. Let's talk about the inheritance of one gene. Let us take the example of one such hybridization experiment carried out by Mendel, where he crossed tall and the dwarf pea plants to study the inheritance of one gene. So basically, to study the inheritance of one gene, he crossed tall and the dwarf pea plants. He collected the seeds produced as a result of this cross and grew them to generate plants of the first hybrid generation. This generation is known as the Flyl1 progeny or the F1 generation. Mankin observed that all the F1 progeny plants were tall like one of its parents. None of them were dwarf. He made similar observations for the other pairs of traits. He found that the F1 always resembled either one of the parents and that the trait of that one parent was not seen in them. So F1 में हमेशा किसी एक पैरेंट का जो है फिनोटाइपिक कैरेक्टर जो है एक्सप्रेस होता है और दूसरे पैरेंट का सीन नहीं होता है. And he observed that always it is being in every contrasting case he is observed the same pattern. So he found that F1 always resembled either one of the parents and that the trait of the other parent was not seen in them. Mandel then self-pollinated the tall F1 plant and to his surprise found that in the Flyl2 generation some of the offspring are dwarf, and it was a character of the parental generation which was not present in the Flyl1 generation. The character that was not seen in the F1 generation was now expressed. The proportion of the plants that were dwarf were 1/4 of the F2 plants, while 3/4 of the F2 plants were tall only. So the tall and the dwarf traits were identical to their parental type and did not show any blending. That is, all the offspring were either tall or dwarf. None of them will be between the height. Similar results were obtained with the other traits that he studied. Only one of the parental traits was expressed in the F1 generation, while at the F2 stage both the traits were expressed in the proportion 3:1, and one will be the recessive one and the dwarf one. The contrasting trait did not show any blending at either F1 or F2 stage. Based on these observations, Mandel proposed that something was being stably passed down unchanged from parent to offspring through the gametes over successive generations. He called these things as fractals. Now we call them as genes. जो उसने मैंडल ने पहले जिनको डिटरमाइन करके फ्रैक्टल्स बोला, we now know them as the genes. So genes therefore are the units of inheritance. They contain the information that is required to express a particular trait in an organism, and these are only passed stably from the parent to the offspring. Genes which code for a pair of contrasting traits are known as alleles. They are slightly different forms of the same gene. Same gene के slightly different forms होंगे that will be in which one will be the dominant allele and one will be the recessive allele. So these will help in the expression of the character. So genes which code for a pair of contrasting traits are known as alleles. They are slightly different forms of the same gene. If we use alphabetical symbols for each gene, then the capital letter is used for the trait expressed at the F1 stage and the small alphabet for the other trait. For example, in case of the character of height, capital T is used for the tall trait and small t for the dwarf, and the capital T and small t are the alleles of each other. Hence, in plants, the pair of alleles for height would be capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, or small t, small t. Mandel also proposed that if in a true breeding plant, tall or the dwarf pea variety, the allelic pair of the genes for height are identical or homozygous. So, अगर कोई true breeding plant है, what was the characteristic of true breeding pea plant or any true breeding plant? It will show the stable character passed down, and it will express for many generations. So he proposed that in the allelic pair of genes, for height are identical or homozygous in a true breeding plant. So capital T was small t, it will be the tall one, it will be the dwarf one. Capital T and small t are called the genotype of the plant because it is determining the genetic composition of the plant. While the descriptive terms tall and the dwarf are the phenotype, they are showing the character. What then would be the phenotype of the plant that had the genotype capital T small t? Well, it was not known capital T small t will show which phenotype, but through the experiment we can determine that capital T small t will show the phenotype of tall plant only. As Mendel found the phenotype of the F1 heterozygous capital T small t to be exactly like the capital T parent in appearance, he proposed that in a pair of dissimilar factors, one dominates the other as in the F1 and hence is called the dominant factor while the other factor is called the recessive. In this case, capital T for tallness is dominant over small t for dwarfness, that is recessive. He observed identical behavior for all the character traits pairs that he studied. It is convenient and logical to use the capital and the lower case of an alphabetical symbol to remember this concept of dominance and recessiveness. Do not use capital T for tall and small t for dwarf because you will find it difficult to remember whether capital T and small t are the alleles of the gene or the character or not. Alleles can be similar as in the case of homozygous. The capital T, small t, or can be dissimilar as in the case of heterozygote, capital T, small t. Since the capital T small t plant is heterozygous for genes controlling one character height, it is monohybrid, and the cross between capital T and small t is called monohybrid cross. From the observation that the recessive parental trait is expressed without any blinding in the F2 generation, we can infer that when the tall and the dwarf plants produce gametes by the process of meiosis, the alleles of the parental pair separate or segregate from each other. Only one allele is transmitted to the gamete. This segregation of alleles is random process, and so there is 50% chance of gamete containing either allele. As has been verified by the results of the crossings. In this way, the gametes of the tall capital T plants have the allele capital T, and the gametes of the dwarf small t plants have the allele small t. During fertilization of the two alleles capital T from one parent, say through the pollen, and the small t from another parent, then through the egg, are united to produce the zygotes that have one capital T allele and the one small t allele. In other words, the hybrids have capital T small t, that is the heterozygous and expressing the tall phenotype. Since these hybrids contain alleles which express contrasting traits, the plants are called heterozygous. The production of gametes by the parents, the formation of the zygotes, and the F1 and the F2 plants can be understood from a diagram called the Punnett square. As shown in the figure 4.4, we will be going through the figure after the paragraph is completed. It was developed by the British geneticist Reginald C. Punnett. So you have to remember he was a British geneticist and his name was Reginald C. Punnett, and the diagram we got is Punnett square. What it helps in? It helps in the to know the production of gametes by the parents, the formation of the zygotes, and F1 and F2 plants can be understood from the diagram called Punnett square. It is a graphical representation to calculate the probability of all the possible genotypes of offspring in a genetic cross. The possible gametes are written on the two sides, usually the top row and the left columns. All possible combinations are represented in boxes below in the squares, which generates a square output form. The Punnett square shows the parental tall capital T male and the dwarf small t female plants. The gametes produced by them and the F1 capital T small t progeny. The F1 plants of the genotype capital T small t are self-pollinating. After we get the F1 heterozygous capital T small t plant, we then self-pollinate it. Like we will cross it with the capital T small t plant only. The symbols male and the female are used to denote the female and the male of the F1 generation respectively. Hope you know that this is the male symbol and this is the female symbol. The F1 plant of the genotype capital T small t when self-pollinated produces gametes of the genotype capital T and small t in equal proportion. When fertilization takes place, the pollen grains of the capital T have a 50% chance to pollinate eggs of the genotype capital T as well as of the genotype small t. Also, pollen grains of the genotype small t have the 50% chance to pollinating the eggs of the genotype capital T as well as of the small t. As a result of random fertilization, the resulting zygote can be of the genotypes capital T, small t or small t. So what we are getting here, what we were talking of in the paragraph, if there is a male having capital D small t and the female having capital D small t, they will produce the gametes capital D. The alleles will be capital D small t. Here alleles will be capital D small t. This will be of female, this will be of female, this will be of male, this will be of male. So now this capital T from the male progeny have the 50% chance to pollinate with the capital T of the female. Why it is 50%? Because capital T of the male will be fusing with the female allele only. So female alleles are only two. So either it can fuse with this, either it can fuse with this. So the resultant will be capital T small t and capital T capital T. This was from male, this was from male, this was from female, and this was from female. Now small t of the male have the 50% chance to fuse with capital T of the female and small t of the female also. So capital T small t, this is small t is from the male and this capital T is from the female. This is small t from the female, this is small t is from the male. So what we are getting the genotypes capital T. So we are getting the genotypes capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, or small t, small t. From the Punnett square, it is easily seen that 1/4 of the random fertilizations lead to capital T, half of the lead to capital T, small t, and 1/4 lead to small t, small t. Though the F1 have the genotype of capital T, small t, but the phenotypic character seen is tall. At F2, the 3/4 of the plants are tall, where some of them are the capital T, while others are capital T, small t. Externally, it is not possible to distinguish between the plants with genotypes capital T, and capital T, small t. Hence, within the genotypic pair capital T, small t, only one character capital T is tall is expressed. Hence, the character capital T over the tall is said to dominate over the other allele, small t over the dwarf character. This is thus due to this dominance of one character over the other that all the F1 are tall, though the genotype is capital T, small t, and in the F2, 3/4 of the plants are tall. Though genotypically half of the capital T, small t, and 1/4 are capital T, capital T. This leads to phenotypic ratio of 3/4 tall is to 1/4 capital T, and half capital T, small t, and 1/4 small t, small t. So the ratio is 3:1 about the tall with to dwarf. But the genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. 1 is for capital T, 2 is for capital T, small t, and 1 is again for small t, small t. So the 1/4 is to 1/2 is to 1/4. Ratio of capital T is to capital T, small t is to small t, small t is mathematically condensable to the form of binomial expression ax plus by whole square that has the gametes bearing genes capital T or small t in the frequency of half. The expression is expanded as below. So on expanding the expression, we will get the phenotypic ratio of 3:1 and genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. Mendel self-pollinated the F2 plants and found that the dwarf F2 plants continue to generate dwarf plants in F3 and the F4 generations. So this is showing the true breeding plant. He concluded that the genotype of the dwarf was homozygous, small t, small t. What do you think he would have got had he self-pollinated a tall F2 plant? If he will be self-pollinating the tall F2 plant like capital T, he will get only the tall plants. And in self-pollinating the capital T, small t, he will be getting same as the F2 generations. From the preceding paragraphs, it is clear that the genotypic ratios can be calculated using mathematical probability by simply looking at the phenotype of the dominant trait. It is not possible to know that the genotypic composition. That is, for example, whether the tall plant from the F1 or F2 is capital T or capital T, small t composition cannot be predicted. Therefore, to determine the genotype of a tall plant at F2, Mendel crossed the tall plant from F2 with a dwarf plant. This he called the test cross. In a typical test cross, an organism P plants here showing a dominant phenotype and whose genotype is to be determined is crossed with a recessive parent instead of the self-crossing. So, because if we are self-crossing, either we will get the generation having the tall plants only, so it will show the test our cross had been with the tall plant was homozygous. If we will be getting the same like after generation the on self-crossing, so tall is to dwarf ratio will be 3:1. It will show that the plant was heterozygous, but it will be a much complicated process. So rather doing the self-crossing, we will be doing the cross with the recessive parent. The progenies of such a cross can be easily analyzed to predict the genotype of the test organism. Figure shows the result of the typical test cross where violet color V, capital V is dominant over the white color small v. Using Punnett square try to find out the nature of the offspring of a test cross. What ratio do you get? Using the genotypes of this cross, can you give a general definition for the test cross? So the definition for test cross is this only. In a typical test cross, an organism showing a dominant phenotype is crossed with a recessive parent instead of the self-crossing. You know the genotypic computation of the test plant. So if we see the above diagrams, so steps in making a cross in P. So here are the steps in making the test to making a cross in P. We have to do the artificial hybridization. So this is the petal of the flower, this is the stigma, this is the anther, this is the filament, stamen, this anther filament compose the stamen, and this is the carpel. Carpel is the female reproductive part. Removal of anthers, this process is known as emasculation. Why this is done? Because if we are not removing the anthers of the plant, it will be self-pollinating. It will be autogamy only, and we cannot generate the cross plant. The desired characters cannot be generated in the plant. So we will be removing the anthers. Then we will be doing bagging till the stigma becomes receptive. Because sometimes the stigma and the anther, sometimes the stigma do not become receptive. It has a certain time period to become receptive. So we will be bagging the female parent so that no undesirable pollen can terminate on the stigma. So we will be doing bagging. After the stigma becomes receptive and we are getting the pollen from a desired male parent. So we will be transferring the pollen. The event is called the pollination in the female parent. Then we will re-bagging it, and after this we will get the desired pig plant. So we were wanting the tall character in all the plants. So we have done the artificial hybridization to get the desired character. Diagrammatic representation of monohybrid cross. We have talked about it was a tall parent and it was a dwarf parent, capital T and capital T small t small t. So in case of tall crossing with a dwarf, here we will be getting F1 generation of only tall plants, capital T small t. So capital T small t is now getting self-crossed. Capital T small t crossing with the capital T small t, we will be getting capital T, capital T, capital T small t, capital T small t, and small t small t. We have talked about this in the theory. So the genotypic ratio will be tallest to dwarf. Sorry, the phenotypic ratio will be tallest to dwarf. It will be 3:1, and the genotypic ratio will be capital T is to capital T small t is to small t small t. It will be 1:3:1 in the monohybrid cross. Let's talk about Punnett square. Punnett square used to understand the typical monohybrid cross conducted by Mendel between two breeding tall plants and the two breeding dwarf plants. So these were the two breeding tall plants and these were the two breeding dwarf plants. we are making the Punnett squares. We will be having the male gametes on one side and the female gametes on another side. So male gametes are here, capital T, and female gametes on the another side, small t, small t. We will be crossing them like this. Every one allele have the chance to cross with the another allele of the opposite part. So we are getting it like this. So now crossing the F1 generation, we will be getting the phenotypic ratio of 3:1, tall is to dwarf, and the genotypic ratio of 1:2:1. Similarly, we will be putting the male gametes and the female gametes on the another rows and the columns and getting the F2 generation. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of the test scores. We have talked about the test scores to determine the genotype of the F1 progeny. So we have taken the homozygous recessive. We have taken the homozygous recessive parent and crossing it with the dominant phenotype and whose genotype is unknown. It is our test plant. So if it is having capital W, dominant phenotype is violet only, because violet is dominant over the white color flowers. So violet is dominant and it is homozygous dominant. So if the phenotype is if the phenotype is violet, let's consider is capital W, and check the what can be the results. And we are taking the homozygous recessive parent for the test scores. So we take the dominant phenotype and the homozygous recessive parent. So small w, capital W, we will cross them and get the capital W. All plants will be capital W, small w, and all plants are violet. Why violet? Because violet is dominant over the white color. So capital W expresses itself and small w does not. Interpretation is unknown flower is homozygous dominant. In case unknown flower is heterozygous dominant, like capital W, small w, and we are testing the genotype of the test plant. So while crossing with the homozygous recessive, we will be getting capital W, small w, capital W, small w, small w, small w, and small w, small w from these. Small w, capital W, small w, capital W, small w. So half of the flowers are violet and half of the flowers are white. So unknown flowers are heterozygous. This is asked many times in the question. You will be giving an unknown genotype and ask, you will be given a dominant genotype and ask what will be the result of the test scores, or the heterozygous dominant genotype and ask what will be the results and interpretations. Based on his observations of monohybrid crosses, Mendel proposed two general rules to consolidate his understanding of inheritance in monohybrid crosses. Today, these rules are called the principles of laws of inheritance. The first law, or the law of dominance, and the second law, or the law of segregation. This was all about the part 1 of this chapter. We will be studying the part 2. Stay tuned for updates and upcoming videos. Thank you for listening me out. Have a great day.